Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rennie. I'm a mixed media artist, and in today's hello Willow. This is Willow. And today, ow, your claws. In today's video, I'm going to be demonstrating 3 different techniques for getting a specific pattern onto the gel plate. I love the front grille of my car, and I thought, how can I get that pattern onto the gel plate? So we're exploring it 3 different ways today. So the first way is by image transfer, so taking a photograph of the grille of my car, getting a nice high contrast image on the laser print to do an image transfer. The second technique is frottage, or rubbing, where you take a crayon or an oil pastel that you rub across a piece of paper covering the grill to get an image of the texture of the grill. And then the third technique is playing with Play-Doh. So using Play-Doh to lift away the shape of the grill. So a lot of fun exploring those 3 different techniques and really getting a very different sort of image, different variations of that image on the gel plate. So without further ado, let's dive in and explore those 3 techniques. Okay, so here's the subject matter of the day, the grille of my car. And so the first technique is using Play-Doh. I think I used about 4 little tubs of Play-Doh and rolling them out on the back of my palette. I didn't videotape the part where I'm pressing that into my car grill because the garage is dark and dirty and it's cold. Not a very good environment for filming. I just rolled out the surface of that to make it a little bit more level. And then getting some Amsterdam black paint down. Starting with a nice even coat. And then I was going to put the Play-Doh down onto the gel plate, and then realized it was probably made more sense to do the reverse of that. So putting the gel plate down onto the Play-Doh so I can get it centered. So making sure I've got good contact across the surface. And it looks like I got a pretty good image there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the bronze color. So switching over to this lovely golden bronze metallic. Anyone that's worked with this paint will probably agree that it's pretty nice to work with, although it dries quite quickly. So pressing this down, and you can actually see the impression coming through, which is kind of cool. So making sure again that I'm getting full contact here. And yep, looks pretty good. Here I wanted to just remove some of the excess paint, but it had already dried. So just rolling that in. And you can use this quite a few times before it gets too full of paint. So to keep that, I just roll it up in some wax paper and store it in a plastic bag. The next technique here, I'm moving to the frottage, or the rubbing. Again, getting a nice even coat of paint. And I didn't videotape that either, again, for the same reason, but Basically, it's just placing the paper over a textured surface and rubbing it with either wax crayon or oil pastel. In my case, I used an oil pastel, which worked quite well. Again, making sure I've got good contact here. I probably could have lifted away a little bit more of that ink, but I'm really going for sort of a grunge look here. So it's fine if some of the paint gets left behind. I'm repeating the process with the bronze color. I did 2 rubbings because I wasn't sure I'd be able to get 2 successful ones from the same paper. So getting that down on there. Similar pressure and time I find to image transfer. So a light touch, just making sure I've got good contact there. And these papers can actually be used for collage too, so that's a nice bonus. Looks like I got a good image there. And then moving to the third technique, which is the image transfer with a laser print. So photograph of the grill and then modifying it a little bit in my phone, because I just took it with my phone. And then I think I brought it into Canva and just played around with it just to get a good high contrast image. Printed it onto this business quality report paper, which is not to be confused with photo paper. So it's a glossy paper. I think I just got it on Amazon. I'd heard about other artists saying that it worked really well for image transfers, and it does in fact work very well, as you will see. Got a nice transfer here. And since I had not printed two laser prints of the image, I'm going to be reusing the same one. So the image probably won't be as crisp, or is not as crisp, but that's okay, since this is really just an experiment and demonstrating the technique. So same laser print going down into the bronze. I found that typically laser print transfers, for me anyway, takes about 15 seconds with a light touch. And that has transferred reasonably well, considering that's the second pull with that laser print. And so here, all 6, we've got the ones on the left are the image transfers, the ones in the center are the Play-Doh, and the ones on the far right are the rubbings. So here I'm just playing around with Distress inks from Ranger and some Liquitex acrylic inks. I mean, I could have easily done just a really simple pull, just adding another color over the top, but not quite as much fun as getting some of that grunge look by adding some more layers. So the top row of plates has the gold, that has the black transfers, and the bottom layer, the bottom 3 have the bronze transfers. So moving on to some gold colored metallic acrylic ink going on the top ones because they're black, so getting looking for more of the contrast there. Spritzing a little bit of water. And here I've got a fan. I could use the hair dryer here, but it wasn't extremely wet, so it was quite quick drying. And then coming in with the light blue. And you can see that it's mixing in a little bit with that gold acrylic ink. Coming in with my damp paintbrush. This is just an inexpensive paintbrush from the hardware store. If you see my previous video, I demonstrate the water technique with this brush. So just getting some random markings down on here, really wanting to stay with that sort of grunge, aged look. And this is Payne's Gray, I think, in the Liquitex Fluid. So choosing that on the bronze base ones for a little bit more of a contrast. Or at least that's the goal. Sort of assessing and deciding what I want to do next. Really there's two ways here. I could have let these completely dry. Checking, tagging, taking a bit of a sneak peek, looking through the back, which is a good reason to have the gel plates on acrylic. Just giving them a quick fanning. And then this is medical exam paper. So here I've chosen to lift away some of the paint. And two reasons for doing this. One would be just so that the dry time is reduced, but also really looking to have more of a splotchy effect. So the paint stays in some places and gets pulled away in other places. And those medical exam papers can also be used for collage. And this is a Distressed Ink Ranger. I think it's just this white color. When you're working in multiple layers, sometimes it's hard to know when to stop. So here I'm going in with the back end of a paintbrush, and what I'm doing is sort of gently rubbing away some of the dried paint. So this is dry, at least in most places. And so wanting to just get a more of a distressed look where those circles were more of a solid color. So that more of the following coats of paint will show through. This area here was still wet from that white stain. I'm speeding up this process a little bit. It's a little bit repetitive. And so you can use any kind of tool that isn't sharp to work the dried paint away from the surface of the gel plate. So it's another fun technique. I also use the back of that paintbrush to make some sort of wave-like shapes into the areas where you saw the solid gold or bronze color. Going in with some more colors, more layers. Looking through the back just to help me decide what color I want to put down next. Going in again with a damp paintbrush and a little bit of water spray. And this is a coppery metallic color. So spraying some water, coming back in with the damp paintbrush. Pulling away some of that paint. Going in with some more spray stain. This is a darker brown. When you're working in layers, you're really sort of going at this intuitively. It really is all about experimentation and play, which I think we all need as artists, don't we? Just letting go of the outcome and just marveling, having that childlike wonder, which we all need in this crazy world that we live in. Another good paper to be using in collage. Added some Liquitex acrylic ink in this blue. Pulling away some of that.
Some more metallic, Payne's Gray, and copper. And now finally coming to the final layer of paint before the pull here, I decided to do this fluorescent pink. I probably could have let these dry a little bit longer. Not sure if it's just because the dyes are water soluble that they're moving around a little bit in the paint. I'm using tea bag paper, which is really my favorite go-to paper for doing collage. I've misplaced my Baron. I don't know where it went, but this paperweight works quite well. This is a light blue-gray that I'm choosing for the next one. The final paint color for the final pull. And making sure I have enough paint there to be able to pull up all of those previous layers. So the final layer obviously won't show through everywhere on the print, but in some areas. But most importantly, getting a good even layer in to help lift off all the other layers. Make sure I have good contact there. Here I chose titanium white. On this one for the final pull, you can see how it mixes with the stains. This one's a little bit off camera, sorry about that. Getting some white down on this one as well. And then the last one. Now everybody's favorite thing of all is the final pull, the reveal, especially when you're working with multiple layers. So I let these dry probably about a half an hour. It doesn't take as long with this paper, it dries quite quickly. So this is one of the ones that were made with the Play-Doh. That was the one with the black paint base. This is the Play-Doh one with the bronze base. overhead light is creating a bit of a shine there. And these, I have to say, are my favorites. These were the two that were done with a rubbing technique. It's a really nice grunge effect there. The black base and the bronze base. Also a really nice grunge effect there. Distressed look. These are really fun for scrapbooking. And then these were the ones done with the laser image transfers. And a fun effect there with that fluorescent pink and blue. The image transfer with the bronze base. This one's a lot subtler. And then here are all 6. I'm just going through the prints here. So these are the laser image transfer ones. These are the Play-Doh ones. You can see those wavy lines on either side. That was done with the back of the paintbrush on the gel plate. And my favorite ones, the rubbings. Really happy with the way these came out. And so just kind of to demonstrate the options we have for getting something, a texture or a pattern of something that we can't necessarily bring directly onto the gel plate, we have these great options. So just to show how versatile the gel plate is, how fun it is. A couple extra ones here that I did after the fact. So I hope you enjoyed this demo, and feel free to share any comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.